Now, class 7, a handful of clay, a journey of a simple lamp of clay. Now, that is also chapter 7, class 7, okay? And roots, book is root. Now, the author is Henry Van Dyke. Okay. Now, a journey of a simple lamp of clay. It is about a journey of a simple lamp of clay. There was a handful of clay in the bank of a river. It was, all of you open the book, page 99. It was only common clay, coarse and heavy. So a handful of clay in the bank of a river. It was a common clay, coarse and heavy, but it had high thoughts of its own value and wonderful dreams of the great place which it was to fill in the world when the time came for its virtues to be discovered. The clay has a desire to fulfill a wonderful place of the world when the time will come. Over it in the spring sunshine, the tree whispered together in the glory which descended upon them when the delicate blossoms and leaves began to expand, and the forest glowed with fair, clear colors, as if the dust of thousands of rubies and emeralds were hanging in soft clouds above the earth. Now, in the spring, we know the spring is the beautiful time of the season. All the birds, animals, and all the human beings became very happy, and the birds also, and the trees also having new leaves. They are blossoms and they are often enjoying every time. Now, the flowers, surprised with the joy of beauty, bend their heads to one another as the wind carries them and said, "Sisters, how lovely you have become! You make the day bright." Now, the flowers are also becoming very bright and very happy. The river, glad of new strength and rejoicing in the unison of his waters, murmur to the shores in music. The rivers are also very happy. They are also dancing rivers wave with the music tones, telling of his release from icy fetters, his swift flight from the snow-clad mountains, and the mighty work to which it was hurrying. The wheels of many mills to be turned and the great ships to be floated. Many wheels were turning and the great ships were floating to the sea. Waiting blindly in his bed, the clay comforted itself with lofty hopes. "My time will come," it said. "I was not made to be hidden forever." The clay said that I will not be hidden here altogether. It will be high time. One time will come when I will be able to serve the greatest thing of the world. One day the clay felt itself taken from the place where it had waited so long. The clay was waiting at one place for a long day. One day the clay felt itself taken from the place. A flat blade of iron passed beneath it and lifted it and tossed it into a court with other lumps of clay. It was carried far away, as it seemed, over a rough and stony road. But it was not afraid, not discouraged, for it said to itself, so it was lifted and tossed into a car with other lumps of clay. But that particular clay was not afraid, not discouraged, for it said to itself, "This is necessary. The path of glory is always rugged. Now I am on my way to play a great part in the world. Now I am going to play a great part in the world." But the hard journey was nothing compared with the tribulation and distress that came after it. But the clay had to face very hard stress after the journey. The clay was put into a trough and mixed and beaten and stirred and trampled. Now it seemed almost unbearable, but there was consolation in the thought that something very fine and noble was certainly coming of all. But after that journey, the journey was quite full of stressful, but after that it had to face a very hard time. But the clay thought that always we have to, if we want to gain something, that we have to gain after a hard work. Now after a hard time we have to wait, then we will get something good, a wonderful reward. Then it was put up, page 100. Then it was put up on a swiftly turning wheel and whirled around until it seemed as if it must fly into 1,000 pieces. A strange power pressed it and molded it as it revolved, and through all the dizziness and pain it felt that it was taking a new form. Then after that it was put into a turning wheel and whirled around, and after that it took a new form. Now then an unknown hand put it into an oven, and fires were kindled about it, fierce and penetrating, hotter than all the heats of summer that had ever brooded upon the bank of the river. Now, after that, an unknown hand put the clay and then got something new, fierce and penetrating. But through all the clay held itself together and endured its trial in the confidence on a great future. Surely thought, I am intended for something very splendid, since such pains are taken with me. Perhaps I am fashioned for the ornament of a temple. The clay thought that perhaps I will be put into the ornament of a temple, or a precious vase for the temple, for the table of a king. The baking was finished. At last the baking was finished. The clay was taken from the furnace and set down upon a board in the cool air under the blue sky. The tribulation was past. The reward was at hand. So it was past. The time was past when it was endured after trials. Fire was given to the clay, and after that it was waiting for the reward. So today up till this, my students, next day I will finish it, okay? Up till this. Now all of you write the meaning and also the summary you write. A Handful of Clay by Henry Van Dyke. There was a handful of clay in the bank of a river. It was only common clay, coarse and heavy, but it had high thoughts of its own value and wonderful dreams of the great place which it was to fill in the world when the time came for its virtues to be discovered. Now again I am telling you, all of you look at the, all of you write it, okay. There was a handful of clay in the bank of a river. First of all you write a handful of clay, give the heading of the, the title of the story, and then you write by Henry Van Dyke, D-Y-K-E. There was a handful of clay in the bank of a river. It was only common, full stop, after river, full stop. It was only common clay, comma, coarse, C-O-A-R-S-E, coarse and heavy, comma, but it had high thoughts of his own value, comma, and wonderful dreams of the great place which it was to fill in the world when the time came for its virtues to be discovered. Okay, up till this, okay, my students. Now, meaning. Disintegrate, dash, falls apart. Page 90, from the book, all of you mark, marred, M-A-R-R-E-D, marred, dash, spoiled, S-P-O-I-L-E-D, spoiled. Now, overdraft, dash, the amount of money that you owe to a bank when you have spent more money than is in your bank account. That is, you spend more money. The amount you have in the bank, you spend more money than that. Now, imperceptibly, dash, From the book, number 4, in a very small way that cannot be seen or felt. Very small, that we cannot see or felt. Page 91. Vice, VIS, compete strongly. Convey, a small group of birds. Onslaught, a strong or violent attack. Now, disruptive, page 91. Now, vice, compete strongly, convey, a small group of birds, onslaught, a strong or violent attack, disruptive, causing problems, cravat, a short white strip of silk, etc., worn by men around the neck, altruistic, caring about the needs and happiness of other people more than our own, somnambulistic, tendency to sleepwalk, pirouettes, turns fast or spins or one foot. On one foot, turns fast or spins. Exuberance, the quality of being full of energy, excitement, of happiness. Full of energy, excitement, or happiness. Rotan, plum, tenancy, a period of time that you rent an hour. Tenancy, the right to live somewhere. Prehensile, of a part of an animal body able to hold things. Protuberant, bulging. Diminutive, teeny, tiny. These are the meaning from the book. You have to study all the meaning. Then the summary I have given, and some parts of the story I explain you today. The other part in my next day. Okay. Wish you a very, very happy day. Okay. Next day I will complete the chapter. And then next day question answer. Okay.